What did he say, Mataji?
You can
Did you
continue
hear
to
what he
listen.
said? Okay, I continue. Okay.
Yeah, please. Yes, thank you.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Thank you very much for joining in. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please accept our humble obeisances on behalf of everybody who has joined the group and will be later joining or watching this on YouTube. Mataji, we are studying the Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 3, Chapter 15, and the text for today is text 44.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I really thank you for joining today's session and making it very special for us this this Friday evening. I hand over to you, Mataji. If would like us to do the Mangalacharan, we'll be happy to do that unless you want to do it.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining and for giving me this opportunity. Thank you so much. Yes, Kirtika Mataji, you can do the Mangalacharan or anybody else.
Okay, if there's no volunteer, I can do the Mangalacharan.
Okay.
ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासाहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिकान्ता राधाकान्ता नमोऽस्तु ते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, Mataji, over to you.
Thank you so much for the wonderful recitation. Mukham karoti vachalam pangam nangayate giram yadkripadaham vande Paramananda Madhavam Jayatam Suratopangor Mama Mande Matergate Matsarvasya Padam Bhoja Radha Madana Mohanam Divyadvandaranya Kalpadrumada Srimad Ratnakara Simhasanastha Shishirada Shila Govinda Devo Prishta Libhi Sevimano Smarami Shriman Rasa Rasarambhe Vamsi Vata Tata Stita Karshan Venu Sunir Gopir Gopinatha Shriyastuna Nasta Prayeshu Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nastapreshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Utamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki Shinvantam Swatakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hriday Antaha Stohi Abhadrani Vidhunoti Surit Satam. So, Canto 3, Chapter 15, verses 44 and 45, description of the kingdom of God. So, verse 44. Deva amasya vadanista padmakosham udvikshya sunandara dhara kundahasam labdha shisha punar avikshya tadiyam angri dvandvam nakurana mani shayanam nidhayu. Translation. The Lord's beautiful face appeared to them like the inside of a blue lotus, and the Lord's smile appeared to be a blossoming jasmine flower. After seeing the face of the Lord, the sages were fully satisfied, and when they wanted to see him further, they looked upon the nails of his lotus feet, which resembled rubies. Thus they viewed the Lord's transcendental body again and again. And so they finally achieved meditation on the Lord's personal feature. Text 45. Pumsham gatim margayatam iha yoga marge dhyana spadam bahu matam nayana bhiraram pumshnam vapur darshanam ananya siddher Otpatikai samagrahan yutam astabhogai. Translation. This is a form of the Lord which is meditated upon by the followers of the yoga process. And it is pleasing to the yogis in meditation. It is not imaginary but factual, as proved by great yogis. The Lord is full in 8 kinds of achievement. But for others, these achievements are not possible in full perfection. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. The success of the yoga process is very nicely described here. It is specifically mentioned that the form of the Lord as four-handed Narayan is the object of meditation for the followers of the yoga marg. In the modern age, there are so many so-called yogis who do not target their meditation on the four-handed Narayan form. Some of them try to meditate on something impersonal or void. But that is not approved by the great yogis who follow the standard method. The real Yoga Marga process is to control the senses, sit in a solitary and sanctified place, and meditate on the four-handed form of Narayan, decorated as described in this chapter as he appeared before the 4 sages. This Narayan form is Krishna's expansion. Therefore, the Krishna consciousness movement, which is now spreading, is the real topmost process of yoga practice. Krishna consciousness is the highest yoga performance by trained devotional yogis. Despite all the allurement of yoga practice, the 8 kinds of yogic perfections are hardly achievable by the common man. But here it is described that the Lord who appeared before the 4 sages is himself full of all 8 of those perfections. The highest yoga mark process is to concentrate the mind 24 hours a day on Krishna. This is called Krishna consciousness. The yoga system as described in Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, or as recommended in the Patanjali yoga process, is different from the nowadays practiced Hatha yoga as it is generally understood in the Western countries. Real yoga practice is to control the senses, and after such control is established, to concentrate the mind on the Narayan form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. Lord Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, and all other forms, Vishnu forms, with 4 hands decorated with conch, lotus club, and wheel, are planetary expansions of Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita, it is recommended that one meditate upon the form of the Lord. To practice concentration of the mind, one has to sit with the head and the back in a straight line, and one must practice in a secluded place, sanctified by a sacred atmosphere. The yogi should observe the rules and regulations of brahmacharya to strictly live a life of self-restraint and celibacy. One cannot practice yoga in a congested city, living a life of extravagancy, including unrestricted sex, indulgence, and adultery of the tongue. Yoga practice necessitates controlling the senses, and the beginning of sense control is to control the tongue. One who can control the tongue can also have control over other senses. One cannot allow the tongue to take all kinds of forbidden food and drink and at the same time advance in the practice of yoga. It is very regrettable fact that many unauthorized so-called yogis come to the Western countries and exploit people's inclination towards yoga practice. Such unauthorized yogis even dare to say publicly that one can indulge in the habit of drinking and at the same time practice meditation. Would anybody else like to read a few? It's a very long purport. Maybe we can read 2 more paragraphs and then I can start with the class. Anybody would like to read?
Yes.
Okay.
5,000 years ago, Lord Krishna recommended yoga practice to Arjuna, but Arjuna frankly expressed his inability to follow the stringent rules and regulations of the yoga system. One should be very practical in every field of activity and should not waste his valuable time in practicing useless gymnastic feats in the name of yoga. Real yoga is to search out the 400 supersoul within one's heart and see him perpetually in meditation. Such continued meditation is called samadhi, and the object of this meditation is the 400 Narayana, with bodily decorations are described in this chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam. If, however, one wants to meditate upon something void and impersonal, it will take a very long time before he achieves success in yoga practice. We cannot concentrate our mind on something void or impersonal. Real yoga is to fix the mind in the form of the Lord, the 400 Narayana, who is sitting in everyone's heart. By meditation, one can understand that God is sitting within one's heart and even within one's heart. Even if one does not know it, God is seated within everyone's heart. Not only is he seated in the heart of the human being, but he is also within the hearts of cats and dogs. Bhagavad Gita certifies this fact by the declaration of the Lord, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hirdradese. The Ishvara, the supreme controller of the world, is seated in everyone's heart. Not only is he in everyone's heart, but he is also present within the atom. No place is vacant or devoid of the presence of the Lord. That is a statement of the Isa Upanishad. God is present everywhere, and his right of proprietorship applies to everything. The feature of the Lord by which he is present everywhere is called Paramatma. Atma means the individual soul, and the Paratma means the individual supersoul. Both Atma and the Paramatma are individual persons. The difference between Atma and Paramatma is that the Atma or the soul is present only in a particular body, whereas the Paramatma is present everywhere. This is the connection. In this connection, the example of the sun is very nice. An individual person may be situated in one place, but the sun, even though a similar individual entity is present on the head of every individual person. The Bhagavad Gita is explained. Bhagavad Gita, this is explained. Therefore, even though the qualities of all entities, including the Lord, are equal, the supersoul is different from the individual soul by quantitative power of expansion. The Lord or the supersoul can expand himself into millions of different forms, whereas the individual soul cannot do so.
Okay, I think we can see.
Yes.
It's okay. Thank you so much. So, it was a very nice long purport, and Srila Prabhupada makes lots and lots and lots of important points. Lots of important points. So, what really stands out is, as you read the purport, is how many Hatha yogis today even know that the end conclusion, that the real goal of yoga is to meditate upon this form of the Lord in the heart. No yogi knows that. So this is how far apart the system of yoga has diluted completely. So coming back to the four Kumaras, so we know that they were impersonalists. They did not believe in the personal form of God. So they actually unintentionally achieved the result of yoga practice. There was no conscious intention. They did not go there with the intention of, taking darshan of the Lord and perfecting themselves. No. But when they had darshan of the Lord, they achieved the perfection of yoga, and they had a complete transformation of the heart. So again, this is the real aim of yoga practice, is to search out the four-handed supersoul within one's heart and see him perpetually in meditation. Such continued meditation is called samadhi. And the object of this meditation is the four-handed Narayan with bodily decorations as described in this chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Now the question is, if they were impersonalists, how did they achieve this result? And even that unintentionally. How is it that they achieved what takes yogis thousands and thousands of a long, long, long time, and even bhakti yogis? It takes us a long time to achieve this, to be able to have darshan of the Lord. So how is it them being impersonalists, not even believing in the personal form of the Lord? How did they achieve this result? Any idea?
Was it through the smell of Tulsi Maharani at the lotus feet of the Lord? So a great devotee, Tulsi Maharani, showed them the Lord's teacher.
Yeah, good point. When they smelled the tulsi, the fragrant tulsi, there was a lot of purification, cleansing of the heart happened. Yes. Another reason?
Well, I'm not sure, but they passed the first 6 gates, and when they reached the 7th gate, Jai and Vijay were there. So is it they were through the 6 gates, they can, because of that reason, they can see.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yes, in the sense that, okay, so the answer is because they were highly elevated souls. And because they were highly elevated souls, like Mataji said, they could pass the 6 gates. They could go to the Vaikuntha planets. They could travel anywhere because although they were impersonalists, they were highly elevated souls. And there's another example, is Sukadev Goswami, who was initially also not a personalist. He only became a personalist when he heard the Bhagavatam. but he was highly, highly, highly elevated. And I was recently, I don't know if there's this podcast that Namras Prabhu does. And there's two podcasts trending right now. Both of them are with him and Hari Parshad Prabhu. Hari Parshad Prabhu is a very senior devotee, not by age, but he is in the ISKCON Shastrik committee of the GBC, everything to do with Sanskrit. Everything to do with Sanskrit he approves or disapproves. And so there's a very trending podcast, and I request everybody to hear that podcast. It's with Namras Prabhu. Later on, I can send the link. And there, Hari Parshad Prabhu explains in one, he's got two recent podcasts he's done, Namras Prabhu has done with Hari Parshad Prabhu. And in one of them, Hari Parshad Prabhu explains that actually, maybe I speak for myself, I have a tendency of like almost looking down at impersonalists and even Mayavadis, but some of these impersonalists are really, really elevated souls. And he said we should not look down, talk down, or you know how we talk about impersonalism, and no, because it is an approved path, actually. It is an approved path. Krishna has given this path. And for some people, this suits them, you know? So, and that's actually changed my outlook completely about impersonalists and, Mayavad, because ultimately, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, all paths lead to me. As long as there's a genuine path, there will be purification of the heart and there will be progression. So it kind of like changed my perspective completely. So these are highly elevated souls. They could travel freely in the Vaikuntha world, travel freely anywhere within the material sphere and the spiritual sphere. Way, way more advanced than we are. We can't travel freely in this puny little planet. We have to pay so much for transport, you know. So where is the comparison? So then, I've always had a tendency of judging, you know, and kind of like, I'm so glad I heard that podcast because it was like, wow, it opened my eyes, you know. So, okay, yeah. So they were highly elevated souls. And of course, the Lord wanted to give them mercy, you know. In the first paragraph, Srila Prabhupada is explaining that this is the real goal. And this darshan is factual, is not imagination, is not temporary, but darshan of Narayan or Vishnu is factual. Now, again, a lot of the purports we can see in these initial chapters, he is just trying to correct the misconception of the Mayavadi and the impersonalists. And I can explain this. I had a personal experience with this many, many years ago. It almost feels a different lifetime ago. I had gone to South India, Kerala, for a 1-month yoga teacher training. And so every day we would have a good few hours of the practical yoga asana training and then the philosophy. And the whole month, you know, they taught us about, for example, Lord Shiva, Durga, Brahma, all these demigods. And then the last week, they say, and they did lots of different pujas and sacrifices. And then the last week, their ending conclusion was that it's all symbolic. And when I heard that, my jaw literally dropped. And I'm thinking, you spent a whole month teaching us about Lord Shiva, about Durga, about this, about this, about this. Practically every weekend, we've done a whole big long puja and a fire sacrifice. And then your conclusion is that it's all symbolic. And it's like, on what level does this even make sense, you know? But yeah, this is their belief. So I just want to share my slide. But nonetheless, like I said, we just have to, maybe there's some misunderstanding in how they teach the philosophy, but nonetheless, it is a path. So, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, to practice this Ashtanga yoga, can you see the slide?
Yes, Mataji, we can see the slide.
To practice concentration of the mind, one has to sit with the head and back in a straight line, and one must practice in a secluded place, sanctified by a sacred atmosphere. The yogi should observe the rules and regulations of brahmacharya to strictly live a life of self-restraint and celibacy. So you have to go away to a secluded place. Prepare, sanctify, purify, prepare, sit just on kusha grass and deer skin. And I always joke that even the deer skin, you have to kill the deer yourself. You have to practice strict celibacy, devoid of fear. In the forest, eyes are half open, staring at the tip of the nose. Body, neck, and head erect, hardly any food, any sleep. And and you have to do this for probably many, many, many lifetimes before you can cleanse your heart enough to see the Lord in the heart. And then further on in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, one cannot practice yoga in a congested city, living a life of extravagancy, including unrestricted sex indulgence and adultery of the tongue. It is a very regrettable fact that many unauthorized so-called yogis come to the Western countries and exploit people's inclination towards yoga practice. Such unauthorized yogis even dare to say publicly that one can indulge in the habit of drinking and at the same time practice meditation. So no, it doesn't work this way. Real yoga does not work this way. And this is also based on, we know when Srila Prabhupada went to America first, when he went to New York, he was sharing this gentleman, Dr. Mishra's yoga studio on the Upper West Side. It was on the 5th floor, Suite 501. And Dr. Mishra used to teach yoga there, and Srila Prabhupada would sometimes hold a talk and kirtan there. So of course, this is coming also from his experience of having lived in that yoga studio. And this is not the purpose of yoga. This is not the purpose of yoga. The purpose of yoga is to see the Lord in the heart. And it is, as you can see from the slide, it is a very, very, very cumbersome and very difficult process, If this was the process for perfection in Kali Yuga, today, how many people, if I say, okay, I'm going to get us a group discount, flight and everything to the Himalayas, let's go for 1 week and practice this meditation. How many of us would be able to go? Forget even discount. I'll give you a free ticket. Let's go. How many would be able to go up to the Himalayas and sit like this? First of all, I think you would just be hunted down by wild animals on the first couple of hours. Yeah. So in Kali Yuga, very difficult, very difficult. And so in the West, Srila Prabhupada explains that yoga is just used as a means to enhance one's material life, to strengthen one's body, to gain more focus and more clarity, more energy, and to make the body more flexible. And it's just to enhance one's one's sense enjoyment, you know, which is okay, but this is not the goal. This is the goal of yoga, is to realize the Lord in the heart. And then Prabhupada later on says in the purport that God is everywhere and his right of proprietorship applies to everything. And then he further explains how is God everywhere, you know?
Yeah.
The feature of the Lord by which he is present everywhere is called Paramatma. So there's a Lord in every living entity's heart. Human beings, every species of animal, plants, aquatics, reptiles, amphibians, every living entity, the Lord is in that heart as Paramatma. And then Prabhupada explains in the purport, not only in every living entity's heart, please understand this point, that the Lord as Paramatma is present in each and every atom. Each and every atom of everything, the Lord is present. And that's the only reason the atom is present, is because the Lord is in it. And so this is how he explains in the Bhagavad Gita, hence he is that taste in water, because he is in each and every atom of water. Hence he is the light of the sun and moon. He is the strength of the strong, because he's our ability, he's our capacity, he's our intelligence. He gives us the intelligence, and he is intelligence. Everything great that there is him. The elements come from him. Everything comes from him. By him being present in each and every atom, in each and every soul. And then Prabhupada also explains in the purport that the soul and supersoul are different. So for the class of people who believe that everything is one, you are one, I am one, God is one, we are God, you're God, I am God. Srila Prabhupada is just pointing out that no, the soul and supersoul are different. They are different. The soul is individual, the super soul is individual. They are not one. We will never ever become one. We are part and parcel of the super soul. We are not one with the super soul. And this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and established this philosophy of Achintya Beda Abeda Tattva. One and different at the same time. One in the sense that we are part and parcel. We are eternally the servants of God, and different in the sense that we are individual entities, and we will never amalgamate. We will never become one. We will always eternally remain the servants of Krishna. The individual soul, Prabhupada says, cannot act in superconsciousness. We can never become super soul. But by dovetailing the individual consciousness with the superconsciousness through devotional service and surrender, then we become superconscious also. Means we become completely purified. The soul is completely in its element, at its highest productivity and capacity and effulgence and everything, when the soul is acting to serve the super soul. And in that way, we can obtain the super consciousness by surrendering. This is real, this, Srila Prabhupada says, is real oneness. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and establishes Achintya Beda Abeda Tattva. Achintya Beda, same and different at the same time. And then Srila Prabhupada gives the analogy of the sun. The super soul is different from the individual soul by the quantitative power of expansion. We, the soul, we're aware of our body. Oh, my leg hurts. Oh, my stomach is not that good today. I am aware of what I'm saying, of what I'm seeing, of how I'm feeling, of what I'm tasting, of what I'm sensing. I'm aware because of the consciousness, because of the soul. Similarly, Krishna is aware of everything and everybody because he is a super soul. He is super consciousness. And how Srila Prabhupada explains this, he says that, he gives example, the analogy of the sun. The sun is in one place, but the rays of the sun touches everybody's head. So this is the difference. And so the Lord is a super soul and we are souls. So the Lord's energy and expansion is everywhere. Consciousness and awareness is everywhere, where ours is completely localized. Even our own body, we don't know completely. Do we know right now the situation of our kidneys and lungs and heart? We don't. Unless you have to go for so many tests, then you just about get some idea, But the Lord knows everyone's heart. And he's seated as a friend and witness, always anxious to get us back to him. Another interesting point that Srila Prabhupada makes in this purport is that he talks about the different kinds of siddhis, which these yogis aspire for. They're powerful, mystical siddhis, perfections. Like you can become lighter than the lightest, you can become heavier than a mountain, you can become smaller than the smallest, lighter than air. You can achieve whatever you want. So, and I was just thinking today that we see there are these business tycoons, people who are just can achieve. Yes, they work hard, but they achieve, pretty much they achieve what they want. There's so many examples, even in Kenya itself. Now, I was just thinking they must have been yogis in their previous lives. And there's still this remnant of this mystical siddhi in them, They can achieve what, and others can control like the Lord controls. But then Srila Prabhupada says that actually, greater than these perfections, than these siddhis of becoming smaller and lighter than the lightest and bigger than the biggest and being able to achieve whatever you want, greater than that is receiving the dictation of or instruction from the Lord via the spiritual master. That is greater than any of these 8 mystic yogas, is to receive the instruction of the Lord. And as we advance, eventually to receive the instruction directly from the Lord seated in the heart. That is greater. And then Srila Prabhupada also says that, manda sumanda matayo manda bhagya hi upadrita. The example that in Kali Yuga, we have short lives, we're quarrelsome, anything, and a quarrel starts. We're lazy, especially spiritually. And even if we are interested in spiritual life, we're misguided, unlucky, and above all the time, upadruta, disturbed, mentally disturbed. So now, first of all, we have such short lives. Within the short lives, all this is going on. So it's very, very, very difficult to achieve this perfection in Ashtanga Yoga. Very difficult. And then, like I said, for somebody in all this, somebody, even if somebody is interested in spiritual life, when this person starts searching for spiritual life, they're so misguided by different cults and different organizations. And so Srila Prabhupada says that the only way, and this is so interesting, to practice real spirituality is by following the principles of Bhagavad Gita. So he just summarizes it for us so nicely. This is what spirituality means. Follow the principles of Bhagavad Gita. And that's what spirituality means. Because today it's a very vague term. I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual. Okay, what does that even mean? Can you just please define what that means? Everywhere you go, "Oh, yeah, I don't like organized religions, but I'm spiritual." Okay, what does that mean? It's so vague. It's so vague. And here Srila Prabhupada just, okay, spirituality means following Bhagavad Gita. That's it. Full stop. So, yeah, if anybody talks about this religion and I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual, spirituality means following Bhagavad Gita or a book of God, a book of God, Bible, no problem, follow it properly. And that's what spirituality is. It's not about organized religion or not organized religion. It's about you individually following the law of God. So I think I've touched on this many times before. It's the yoga ladder. It takes so many lifetimes. It's just, first of all, to come to a stage from just complete materialism to accepting the existence of God, karma kanda. Yeah, okay, God exists, but I still want to enjoy. There's no connection between my enjoyment and God. God exists. I go once a year. I go during Christmas or Diwali. I'll go to the church or temple, and that's practically my relationship with God. I'll do something for 2 minutes in the morning. But God is my order supplier. God is there to fulfill my material desires. So I'll do a fast, I'll do a prayer, I'll do some kind of austerity, I'll do a fire sacrifice, I'll go to India to a certain temple and pray for my desire to fulfill. So God is basically my order supply. That's karma kanda. Then if you are fortunate enough to come across devotees of bhakti yoga, you come to sakam karma yoga, where you start offering the results of your actions to the Lord. But you're attached to both. You're attached to the result and you're attached to the work. And then you progress to nishkam, where you give all the results of your work to the Lord. You're not attached to the result, you're not attached to the work. And then Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga. We are so fortunate that Srila Prabhupada made it so simple that we don't have to go through Ashtanga Yoga. He gave us the express yoga ladder. From Sakam, Nishkam, you can go straight to Bhakti. Through the association, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. We're so fortunate. So fortunate. Who could have done Ashtanga Yoga in Kali Yuga? Is not possible. And better than that, express elevator. Karma, surrender, sadhana, bhakti, pure bhakti. For devotees who are living full time in the temple, you have the opportunity for this. And then Srila Prabhupada always mentions that the perfection of yoga is to think about Krishna 24 hours a day. And that's what I want to focus on for the remaining time. Thinking about Krishna 24 hours a day. It is not easy to think about Krishna 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes. I don't know if you take a few seconds and maybe just think about how long have you thought about Krishna today, or how many times have you thought about Krishna today? Chances are you will realize not as long as you would like to, or not as long as you think. It is not easy. It is easy to say, think about, and always remember Krishna, never forget him. It is not easy to actually achieve that. So again, in this podcast with Hari Parshad Prabhu, he explains that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, by remembering Krishna, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, means remembrance. Remembrance. Smaranam is the heart of bhakti. Smaranam takes main stage. The problem in ISKCON is that it is not emphasized enough. You know, Smaranam is taken as something that is very high, very elevated Raganuga bhakti. That we're not ready for it. And then Hari Parshad really just again explains this misconception, and he said, no, Smaranam is part of the Navda Bhakti, the 9 limbs of devotional service. It is part of Vaidhi Bhakti. It is not Raganuga Bhakti. It is very much of part of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti that we are practicing. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. It's that simple. Okay, it's a very basic level of remembrance, Smaranam, in this 9 process. And the way he explains that, one second. Yes. He explains that this is the first level of Smaranam, right? And there's a verse. Yeah. This is from the Padma Puran, okay? Smartavya satatam Vishnu, Vishmartavyo na jatusit. Sarve vidhi nishedhasyur etayur eva kinkara. Smartavya satatam. Always, 24 hours, satatam. Remember Krishna. Now, what is interesting, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his commentary of this verse, says that you fulfill this satatam, always remembering Krishna, by actually remembering him once. First thing in the morning when you wake up, and Hari Parshad Prabhu was saying, even before you get off your bed, even before you wash your face, think about Krishna. And how, he also explains, your most favorite kirtan, sing that or play that and think about Krishna with affection. And we have this the song by Narottam Das Thakur. Which one is it? Any song, any kirtan that reminds you of Krishna. Play that first or sing that with affection for Krishna. Think about him first thing in the morning. That way. And according to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, you have fulfilled the instruction of remembering Krishna 24 hours a day. This is according to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his commentary of this verse from the Padma Puran. What it means, I don't know. This is how Hari Parshad Prabhu explained. Maybe it is the beginning step. Okay, first thing in the morning. If you do that first thing in the morning, chances are that you'll think about him more times during the day. And then he went on to explain that Raganuga Bhakti is what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has came to give us. And the problem in ISKCON is we shy away from it completely, that we're not qualified, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, during Raj Mandal Parikrama in 1932, he said that after about 10 to 15 years of practicing, one should start exploring these topics. And this is specifically meant the Astakaliya Lila. So Hari Parshad Prabhu was explaining that means that at least after 10 years of practicing Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, we should start exploring the topic of Raganuga Bhakti, because Lord Chaitanya came to give us Raganuga Bhakti. At least start understanding the tattva. And have within the institution, have a Siksha Guru who can guide you. And he explained that Jiva Goswami in his Bhakti Sandarbha, this, yes, of course, it requires purification of the heart. Jiva Goswami explains this in Bhakti Sandarbha. Before we approach Raganuga Bhakti, yes, it needs purification of the heart, but at the same time, it should not take 20 to 40 years, this purification of the heart. So whether we're ready to approach Raganuga Bhakti or not, but he was really emphasizing the fact that after some years we should really even endeavor to read the commentaries of the previous acharyas, and Srila Prabhupada encouraged us and to compare the commentaries of the previous acharyas. They have differences, and it is okay to have differences of opinion, but it will widen your perspective and understanding of these different tattvas. It is so important. So and it's just, I think it's just a nice practice. When you wake up first in the morning, think about Krishna. And then Amarendra Prabhu, I was listening to his class, and he also gives a very nice way of doing it. And he said, okay, so every night before you go to bed, journal, at least make a habit of journaling down three times during the day where you remembered Krishna. Either when you were doing your deity worship, or you were reading, or you're thinking of a pastime, or when you're offering your bhoga. And then if the more, you keep journaling every day, okay, if you start with 3 times, and then there will just become that awareness more and more that, oh, am I thinking of Krishna? Am I thinking of Krishna? And so also a nice way is like, always asking yourself, where is Krishna right now and what is he doing? And if you don't know where Krishna is right now at 9 o'clock and what is he doing, find out, do your research. What does Krishna do at 9 o'clock? Where is he at? Is he with the cowherd boys? Is he with the gopis? Is he with Nanda Baba and Yashoda Mataji? If I were to ask this question, does any one of us really know what Krishna is doing at this time? And if we don't know, why do we not know? Because this is why we're here, to fall in love with Krishna, right? And if we don't know about his personal life, how are we going to fall in love with him? How is this going to happen? So yes, there are different levels of smaranam. Let's start with the first level, basic level. And then we will go to dharan, dhyan, dhruvan smriti, and then finally Krishna Prabhupada says samadhi. But at least let's start. And it's not Raganuga Bhakti. It's this Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Yeah, and this idea of journaling. Okay, how many times have I? At least 3 times, more better. but that will get us into the habit of just becoming conscious. How often have I thought about Krishna today? You know, how many times have I stopped and just and visualized Krishna's form, his eyes, his black curly hair, his broad forehead, his peacock feather, his beautiful smile, his lotus eyes, his lotus feet. It's not about the impersonalists out there, it's about our own impersonal heart that we need to look at and consider and purify and change and make it a personal heart. Then we can progress towards Raganuga Bhakti, because that's how we're going to develop love for him. It's not just going to happen. So I'll stop there. I don't know if there's, yeah, love behind all. I'll stop there. If there are any questions, any comments, any discussion, any corrections.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for today's session.
Thank
Mataji,
you.
what is Krishna doing now?
What is Krishna doing now? Where is that book? Oh no, I don't have a book. I can find out. I think I put the book back in the shelf. But I have a book. Where is Krishna now and what is he doing? So it breaks it down. I even before I go to bed right now, I can do it. Or if you have a minute, I can bring the book.
Sure, Mataji.
Okay.
Meanwhile, does anybody have another question for Mataji when she's getting, where is Krishna now and what is he doing?
Okay. Let's see. Where is Krishna now? What is he doing? Midday. So, evening pastimes, and this is, I don't know if you can see from a book called Krishnaika Kumudi by Srila Kavi Karnapur. Evening pastimes, they're called Pradosh Lila, from 8:36 to 10:48 p.m. Krishna goes to his bedroom. Thus, enjoying the early evening, Krishna pays respects to his mother and father according to the rules of etiquette. Then Krishna's parents allow him to retire to bed after showing their affection with embraces and mutual respect. Krishna's living quarters, which are right next to Nanda Maharaj's, are very pleasurable and attractive, being made of gold and jewels. Krishna's bedroom and other rooms are in the center. On all sides are small gardens filled with trees, fresh creepers, and flowering bowers. There are lakes with jeweled banks sheltering sporting swans and warbling cuckoos that are its crown and earrings. The gopis, wearing shimmering silk saris, flower petal crowns, pearl armlets, and ivory earrings, are anointed with fragrant kumkum and sandalwood paste. They enhance the moonlight with the glitter of their teeth when they smile. Eager to enjoy the pastimes with Krishna, These gorgeous Vrajagopis will soon meet the Lord in his garden under the brilliant moonlight of the pleasure-giving night. Some young obedient Sevadasis, servant girls, have washed, dried and scented Krishna's bedroom with black aguru incense. With its decorations of perfumed garlands and jeweled pots topped with colorful flags, Krishna's bedroom is splendorous and pleasant to see. It is also adorned with pleasurable objects carved from spotless ivory. Krishna's golden bed is inlaid with jewels. It has posts made of moonstone, and it is covered with attractive pillows and soft sheets as white as milk foam. The moonlight shining through the window makes the bed look like 1,000 drifting clouds. Beautiful green parrots perch in the corners of the room. With a desire to sleep, Krishna enters this excellent apartment accompanied by various male and female servants. So there's more before Krishna goes to sleep. So yeah, getting ready for bed. And then obviously the plan is that once everybody thinks Krishna is asleep, he's going to sneak out and he's going to go and meet the gopis. So this is what Krishna is doing right now. He's getting ready for bed.
Oh, thank you so much, Mataji, for this wonderful session. Are there any questions or comments? I know we have exhausted our time. If there are no questions or comments, we can end the session for today. Murli Gopal, are you able to end the session for today? Okay, if not, I can end the session for today. Yes, Urmila Ben?
Just, I want to show myself to others.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for your darshan. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for this wonderful session and taking us into Smaran and highlighting the point, what is Krishna doing now? I think that would be a next question for us for tomorrow to keep on reminding ourselves, even if we don't know what he's doing now, because we don't know his schedule, but at least I think even if we say, what is Krishna doing now? We are remembering him. So let us concentrate on that question for the rest of the week till we meet Mataji again. Let us all chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra once in glorification of Mataji. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Rantrat Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai.
Jai.
His Great Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
Grace Ashwariya Lila Mataji ki Jai.
Jai.
All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.